show you how to stretch out your calves, because when your calves get really tight, that can obviously lead to ankle pain, calf pain, and even knee pain. So the first one that we're going to do, there's a lot of different ways to do this stretch. So we'll show you the different ways, and you can kind of pick which one works best for you. The first one is for the and also you have two calf muscles, so we got to stretch them both. A lot of people just stretch the gastroc. We have to stretch the soleus too.
The gastroc is the big part.
So the first one is you can do it on a step. And so you're just going to hang one foot off and just sink that heel down so you feel a nice stretch. And this is the stretch for the gastrocnemius. And now to get the soleus, you do it with the knee bent. So you hang that heel off, bend the knee, and you should feel the stretch a little bit lower.
Down towards your Achilles.
So with these, you want to hold for at least 30 seconds. Longer is better because that actually gets into the fascia to stretch the fascia, and your calves have a lot of fascia in there. So I'd hold at least 30 seconds to a minute. Do at least 3 to 5 of them multiple times a day, especially if you have you feel calf tightness or calf pain. You can also do it just standing on the wall without a step. So if you're at school or something like that, you don't need a step. You just bring one leg back and then push your hips forward towards the wall till you feel a nice stretch through here. Again, this is for the gastroc. And then to target the soleus, you bend that knee, sink it straight down. Good. And you should feel it here a little bit lower. Good. And then the third way you can do it is on your hands and knees on the ground. Yep. So just holding one leg on top of the other. Keep that knee straight. Same thing, you'll feel a stretch. And then to get the soleus, you can sink that knee down, and you can put the other foot down because that'll help stabilize your body so it's not like a workout, it's not like a plank. So just make sure you do it both ways, knee bent and knee straight. And that's it for stretching your calves. This video is for those that have knee pain, so anterior knee pain, which means pain in the front of the knee. We also saw a lot of people, or a few people, with Osgood-Schlatter's. So this is an exercise that can help remedy those symptoms. It's not going to completely take it away, obviously, but it can help. So whenever you have Osgood-Schlatter's, it's this tendon in your knee. It starts to kind of pull away from the bone right there, and it causes a lot of pain and inflammation. So to help with that, loosening up all the muscles in the leg and also strengthening the hip in the leg can really benefit that. So the first one is just a hamstring stretch. So there's obviously a lot of ways you can do a hamstring stretch. I like to do it laying down with a strap because it protects your back. At home, if you don't have a stretch strap like this, you can use like a dog leash, or you can take a belt, loop it around, put it around your foot. So from the front, you'll obviously be laying on your back. You want to keep your opposite leg flat. Grab the stretch strap. You're going to pull it straight up, keeping that knee straight right here. And I want you to hold for 30 seconds to a minute. The longer the better, because same thing, that gets into the fascia the longer you hold it. I want you to do 3 to 5 of those. And these, you can do them as much as you want. At least 2 times a day, usually. Flexibility comes the more you do it. So if you only do it once a day or once every other day, you might not see improvements with the flexibility. So flexibility is really something that you have to do multiple times a day. So that's from the front. So from the side, you'll be here 30 seconds to a minute. Now the next one is for the outside of the hip and leg, IT band and hip external rotators, lateral part of the hip. So So it's almost the same thing. You're gonna pull up, but then you're gonna cross over your body here. And you should feel it along the outside part of your hip and leg. And so sometimes you can play with it and go down a little bit, just depending on where you're the tightest. You might go down, or you might pull it up a little bit higher. So that's from the front. So from the side, you just drop it over here. Same thing, hold 30 seconds to a minute. The longer the better. Multiple times a day. You can do these every day. I would prefer you to do them every day, but at least most days of the week. So at least 4 days a week. The next one is Piriformis stretch. So that's a small little muscle in your booty right here. So if you have knee pain, this is probably the safest way to do it. You're gonna cross your opposite ankle over your thigh. You're gonna be laying on your back. Pull that thigh up, grab behind your thigh, and pull it towards you so you feel a nice stretch here in your booty. So from the side, bend this leg up, cross it over, grab behind that thigh, pull it up and hold. Same thing, 30 seconds to a minute, multiple times a day. That's the Piriformis stretch. Now the next stretch is for the quad. Sometimes if your knee is inflamed, you don't want to do this one if it hurts. So just be cognizant if it hurts or not. But if it doesn't hurt, then this is a really good one because this quad is what causes that tension on the front of your knee. So we really want to stretch that out. So if you're really tight, you might have to do it on your stomach with a strap like this. Bring it over your shoulder. And I'm pretty flexible in my quads, so I can pull it pretty far. But you would, for those of you that aren't that flexible, you might just be able to get it to here. Same thing if it's painful, don't force it. And then you can also do it on this side. So here, if you do it on your side, you just want to make sure you don't let your hip come forward like this, because then you lose the tension on the quads. So you want to make sure your thigh stays in line with your body, pulling that heel up towards your booty. Same thing, 30 seconds to a minute. This is a hip stretching sequence that is really good if you have tight hips, knee pain, hip pain, or even back pain. It's really good for back pain. So when your hips are too tight, then that translates more pressure to your core and back. And so we really want mobile hips and a tight core. So this is a series, it's kind of like a yoga series. This is really good to do. I try and do it every day when I wake up in the morning, or if I play, I try and do it after playing in between every game. So the more you can do it, the better. And then once you actually get the rhythm of it, it comes naturally and you won't need the video to remember it if you do it enough. So you start in downward facing dog. You want your heels to the ground, you're pushing your chest back and hips high. So this, you should feel stretch in the back of the legs, calves, even upper body, shoulders. You're gonna kick your leg up and then you're gonna come all the way through. It's nice to have a little pillow right here, especially if you have knee pain, just to support your knee because you'll be on your knee a lot. So you come forward and this is called the Spider-Man stretch. So this is really good because we really need mobile hips whenever we're trying to get down and pass a ball. So this really helps open up those hips. So I would hold each one of these positions about 30 seconds. So the whole sequence takes about 10-15 minutes, just depending on how long you hold it. So I would hold downward facing dog. You do that one a few times, so I'd hold it 15 to 30 seconds. This one, hold 30 seconds. And then you're gonna come up and do a hip flexor stretch. So for this one, you wanna push your opposite hip forward. So I'll show a front view of it. So I should actually be feeling the stretch in the front of my left thigh. So you're trying to push this left thigh forward. You don't wanna open up this way. You wanna push forward and keep your core tight. You don't wanna overarch your back this way because then you're just gonna feel it in your back. You can keep your core tight, push forward. This one's the hardest stretch because it's hard to verbalize. So you should feel it in the front of your thigh here. Same thing, hold 30 seconds. Then the next one is a quad and hip flexor stretch. So from the side, you reach back. So whichever leg is back, you reach back with the opposite arm, grab that foot, and you should feel it in your quad. And you're also turning your chest towards the opposite wall. So it should be a thoracic stretch or upper back stretch. So you're turning this way, looking up towards the ceiling, holding for about 30 seconds. Then you're gonna push back to do a hamstring stretch. Front leg stays straight. You're gonna reach forward. You should feel it all along the back of that leg. So from the front view, you wanna keep everything in line. You're reaching forward here. Hold 30 seconds. Then you're gonna go into pigeon pose. So same thing, if you have any pain with any of these movements, then just modify them or skip the stretch. We don't want it to be painful. So you're gonna come down into pigeon. Trying to keep your hips evenly stacked. You should feel this in your booty. You can start up here, and then as you start to loosen up, you can come down to your forearms. So same thing, hold 30 seconds. So from the side, it'll look like this. Okay, now you're gonna come down. You're gonna swing that opposite leg over. So you want your ankle on top of your knee on top of your ankle. So this one is really good to break up the fascia in the hips. Same thing if it's painful in your hips. Everybody's hips are built differently, so you don't want it to be painful. It should just feel like a good, deep stretch, and it'll really get in there. So from the front, this is what it looks like here. And then you can just come back into tabletop, open up that chest, open up your hips even more, and then we're gonna do it on the opposite leg. So we're gonna come back, downward facing dog. Trying to push those heels flat. Now we're gonna do the left side. We're gonna kick that leg up, come forward into Spider-Man. Really push those hips forward. Hold 30 seconds. Then come up into the hip flexor stretch. Pushing that opposite hip forward. So from the front, you're stretching your right side. You're gonna push that forward. Hold there. Then reach back, grab your top of your right foot. Open up this way. So a lot of you that are right-handed this way will be harder to open up because we always swing and open up the opposite way. So this is really good to do to kind of keep a symmetrical stretch to your upper back and thoracic. So hold here. And you're gonna push back for the hamstring stretch. Keep that leg straight, reach down, feel it all through here. Then into pigeon. Start up high, go down to your forearms if you need to. Swing your right leg forward, and stack it on top. So it'll be here. And then open up again, tabletop. And that is and here's the side view of the tabletop. Push those hips up top. You should feel it in your shoulders and chest. Open up too. And that is the hip sequence to really open up your hips, stretch out your back, legs, everything. Okay, so I'm going to show you a foam rolling series. So foam become your best friend as you get older, because a lot of things are hard to stretch, especially like through your upper back, and foam rolling really gets that deep compression. It helps release fascial restrictions while stretching the muscle. So if you don't have a foam roller, I would recommend getting one. You can get one like this. They also have hand foam rollers, which are really good for the quads, especially if you have Osgood-Slaughters or anterior knee pain, that you can just roll out this way. But we'll show you with the foam roller today. So I'll start from the bottom. So I'm going to start at my calves. I'm just going to cross my leg over. So I'm doing my left calf right now. I'll cross my right over, and I'll start at the bottom. You want to start all the way down at the bottom at your ankle and roll all the way up behind your knee. So I recommend doing 5 rolls. That's what I call it, 5 rolls. So up and down 5 times. If you find a spot that's tender or painful or just feels tight, stop on that spot, kind of roll up and down, hit that spot. Do that 5 times, and you can switch to your other calf. Same thing, 5 rolls, all the way up and all the way down. Stop if you find a tender spot. Then we're going to move up to the hamstrings. So same thing. If it's too intense, you can do both legs, but I like to cross over because it targets one leg and gets in there a little bit better. Same thing, rolling all the way up. Do that 5 times. You can kind of roll to the outside, roll to the inside, wherever you feel is tighter. Do both legs. Switch on this leg. So from the front view, crossing over here. Okay, now we're gonna get the glutes, your booty muscles. So come all the way up here to your hip. You can kind of turn your legs to the side. Hit those booty muscles. You might feel it kind of snap over a few muscles if it's tight. Get both sides. Again, I would recommend 5 rolls on each side. You can cross your leg over, that'll target it a little better, because that tightens the muscle, so then it'll give an even better stretch. So if whichever leg you're crossing over, lean to that hip to target a better stretch. So from the side, it'll look like this. Now we're going to go up to the back. So keep on rolling all the way up onto the back. You can kind of turn side to side, target those muscles through the back. Up to the thoracic, the upper back. This one you might feel a few little pops or crackles, which is totally normal. That means it's just loosening it up. Same thing, I would do 5 times all the way down and all the way up. Stop if you feel those little crackles, that means it's tight there. So I'd stop there, kind of roll around. It shouldn't be painful, it should feel almost relieving. So if it's painful and doesn't feel like it's loosening it up, then stop if it feels like it's aggravating. But a lot of times it might just be relieving. Okay, now we're gonna do the IT band. IT band goes down the outside of your leg. So cross your top leg over here. That way you can take off pressure, because the IT band is usually really tender and painful. So you can unweight it and make it not as intense by crossing the top leg over. You want to go all the way down to the knee. The IT band runs all the way to the knee, all the way past the hip. So start down by the knee, roll all the way up, all the way back down. If you feel it kind of snap over a few places, stop at that area. You can stop, or you can kind of roll back and forth. So from the side, it looks like this. So I'm crossing that top leg over, rolling all the way down, all the way up. Same thing, 5 rolls on both sides. Now the quads. So the quads will come onto your hands and knees. This will be on the front of your thighs. You can do both, or you can cross over and do one leg. But you're gonna roll all the way down. You don't wanna go over the kneecap, so stop before the kneecap, because that'll hurt. And then all the way back up. You can bend your knees, that'll tighten the quads, so it'll give a little extra stretch. So there's that way. Now from the side, it'll look like this. All the way down. You can cross over, that'll make it really intense. Find those tight spots. And that's a good foam rolling series for you guys to do. I would try and do it just as needed, 1 to 2 times a week. You can do it more, it's not gonna hurt to do it more. If you have any painful or tight areas, the more you do it, you're not gonna overdo it. I would try and do it at least 2 times a week.